Today I have with me a gentleman named Sam. So Sam, just as an introduction, how old are you?
I'm 24 years old.
And where do you currently live?
I live in Westminster.
Okay, you're going to have to speak up a little bit. In fact, let's move a little closer. So just know, because of the wind, and this is a problem with shooting on location, folks, but in the attempt to help you guys out, as I was telling Sam, is I'm not everyone. I'm only me. So I see things through my own set of eyes. Sam's going to see things through his set of eyes. So I want to use every one of these moments to help teach you guys a different perspective. So you recently moved, correct? From
Yes. Santa Clarita.
Which, if you're from California, that's north of LA County.
In the desert, in the middle of nowhere, pretty much.
Well put. We are in Orange County right now, in the city of HB, which is short for Huntington Beach, which is Surf City, USA. And we are working on a 23-foot boat that we just got done detailing. You found me on YouTube, correct?
Yes.
And what was your thought process that you were kind of relating to me?
I saw you, I watched a few of your videos, and you're pretty informative, and I heard you mention you were a mobile detailer in Orange County, so instead of thinking of you as my competition, I was like, oh, maybe I can learn from this guy. So I was like, I'm going to go on this guy's website and shoot him an email and see what we can do. Because, you know, I've had my business for around 6 months now, and I have no formal training, but I would, you know, it never hurts to work with someone who's been at it for a long time, pick up a few new tricks.
See, that attitude right there to me is a winning attitude, and I've always been willing to help other detailers. In fact, I have a video that's sitting on my computer I haven't edited yet, and I work for one of the dealers in my area, and when they know they need something done right, they're going to call me up. So they can have their choice from 20 different mobile detailers. So I show up, and there's literally either 2 or 3 other vans of mobile guys working in the same area. And here I roll up to do some dealer work. But I don't care, because everyone serves their own little niche, their own little audience of customer base. But I've always been willing to help guys out, you know, and I've had guys that have come up to me and said, hey man, I'm kind of stuck over here. I've got some water spots on this car. Is there any like secret to getting water spots off? Whatever. So the fact that you say that, where you can look at me as your competition, because now you're living in Orange County. So essentially you are my competition. But do I care? No. Why? Because I know there's enough business around there. I know that a lot of business is really just about relationships with the customer. You're going to click with people that I'm not necessarily going to click with, and vice versa. So I don't really look at you as competition. And that's not to diminish you as a person or your skills or anything. It's just that there's enough business to go around. So really, I look at you as a resource. It's like, hey, what if I get too much work and I can't handle it? And I know that he's competent enough, I can send him work. Maybe I don't want to travel down to South County or to Huntington Beach for a job that does not pay enough for me to do that. But maybe because he lives closer, he could do that. And this is part of networking. And so a lot of you ask, like, oh, Darren, how do I get more business? Well, do not underestimate the power of networking at every level, including other detailers that you might consider your competition. If you, and to me, it's what I call the difference between having a competitive mindset or a creative mindset. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, I want to be creative. How can I create opportunity for you, which in turn will create opportunity for me down the road? And so that's why I take this time to film and get your perspective. So they have a little bit of your background. You've been into it about 6 months. You're still learning. You've gone through no formal training. We worked on this boat, which you really haven't done a boat before, right?
No, this is the first boat that I've touched.
Was there anything real unique or significant about it versus working on a car and a boat?
I guess it's just kind of the angle of things and having to squeeze underneath the boat. And you do things your process is a little different than mine. So, you know,
Yes.
starting out with the eraser and the degreaser, you know, it's different than what I'm used to, where, you know, I'd wash everything down and then hit it with clay or something similar.
Yeah.
So it's just a little different experience.
Yeah, and that's the deal with detailing or anything in life, is you hear different opinions, you test certain opinions out, and then you come up with your own conclusion, and that's what I call responding to your world. So rather than reacting, which is emotionally based, responding is based on logic and reason. So maybe your market will be a little different. Maybe your demographic or your customer base will be different. Maybe it will be a higher end customer base, or maybe it will be a lower end customer base. So that's where you have to take in the information and adjust accordingly so that you can remain profitable. And that's what I try to teach people is, okay, it's one thing to be busy, okay, but you could be so busy, you could wear yourself out and be out of business.
Mm-hmm.
Who wants that?
Right.
I don't care how much you love cars or working
Yeah.
on boats. Okay, you can do that all day long, but eventually you will get worn out if you're not making money.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you get from point A to point B quicker, easier, and producing better results? But that's really going to be a case by case. So boats represent certain challenges that cars don't. So as far as the detailing world goes, how did you start up? Did you save some money just to buy some chemicals? How did that process play out?
I had just lost my job and I was on unemployment, and I had a credit card open, and I just kind of loaded it up with the basics, and I just kind of started advertising from there. And then, you know, as I started pulling in more money, I started
By
buying new
advertising,
products.
what does that mean to them? When you say advertising, does that mean you literally paid someone to advertise, or you kind of just went out through word of mouth?
I did it myself through word of mouth, through Facebook. I go to car shows, I go to car meets, I hand out business cards to people left and right.
See, that's what I call networking. So, and that's what I called old school, which when you're first starting out, that's what most people have to do, is go old school. And that's what I was telling you. It's like, don't underestimate the power of face-to-face communication and contact. And that's networking. So you go to car shows, Facebook, which is kind of what I call the two-dimensional world, but you're still connecting with people. And it's called networking. Whether it's detailers, friends, family, everyone, you get the word out. Old school, okay? Unless you have a big budget to spend money for someone to do it for you, which you didn't, sounds like. Yeah. So you just went out and you basically announced to the world, hey, I'm Sam, I'm in business, here's my card, and you just networked.
Yeah. I learned a lot of different sales pitches and techniques from other detailers that I would talk to about, you know, how they talk to customers. So it's just all kind of finding the right wording for each advertisement as I would post stuff online, just to kind of catch people's eye and, you know, make them see, like, give them a reason to click on my website or to send me a message and ask me, you know, what's the deal, you know, how much is it to detail my car, you know, what do you offer?
Yeah.
So it's just kind of, it's just trial and error to see what worked and what didn't.
And I've responded to many guys that have written in, and a few of you girls, by the way, and they say, hey, how do I do this? I don't have money to build a website. I don't even know where to begin, but how do I get some business? It's like, well, you go out with, you'll need a business card at a minimum, and you go out and to speak to people. But something that you will learn, and you can tell me if I'm correct on this, did it feel awkward at first? You know, the very first person you talked to, or the first business, or the first repair shop, the first body shop, you're awkward, right?
It was pretty awkward. I'm usually pretty good at talking to people, but when you're coming up with a new service, especially something like detailing where you can screw it up if, you know, you're not doing, you know, what you're supposed to do, people always ask questions like, how long have you been doing this? You know, why should I trust you if you've just started? What experience do you have? And sometimes you have to talk yourself up a little bit, and, you know, you just have to figure out a way to follow through afterwards.
Right.
But it was definitely a little awkward. It still is now. When I go and meet new people, I get a little nervous walking up and being like, hey, do you have a detailer for your car? Or, hey, that's a nice car, like, do you have someone who details it? Like, you always have to figure out how to get onto the topic of detailing and to get to your business without seeming too desperate for clientele.
Yeah.
So it still is a little hard for me right now even, but word of mouth has spread, so I've been pretty busy lately.
That's good. And just so you know, it's still hard for me. Now, granted, I don't have to go around and pound the pavements, but I still get a little nervous. I know I can talk my way through any situation, but I still get a little nervous. But my point is for you guys, that very first door that you're gonna knock on or open up will be your car door. And what I mean by that is the hardest door to open up will be for you to drive somewhere and open up your car door and get out and go start talking to someone. But you will learn along the way. You'll learn how like the service shops kind of talk. They'll ask different questions than maybe if you went to a neighborhood and knocked on doors, or maybe you went to a mall or wherever, a car show. People talk a little differently. You pick up on it, you learn, you respond. You're kind of like the palm tree swaying in the wind. It's like, oh, the wind is telling me this, so I got to go with the flow. And I'm going to talk a certain way based on who I'm talking to, or you can call it being a chameleon. You adapt to your situation. But you will learn that as you do more of it. So the more you do it, the better you get, and the more business you get. So really, it's just the old school way of doing it, unless you've got this huge marketing budget, which most guys just don't.
One of the most important things which has helped me through the last 6 months is just keeping a positive attitude. The more you think positive and you don't let yourself get down if you're slow or you're not doing so well at first, because I started out 1 car a week, maybe 3 every 2 weeks, and I was getting nervous, like, oh, am I going to be able to do this? But I just tried to stay positive and keep a positive mindset and always keep a smile on for everyone and never complain about what's going on with your business, and things just kind of fell into place from there. And I feel like just thinking positive will produce results.
That's
in
good.
The end, because if you let yourself get down, you're gonna lose motivation to advertise or to go out and promote yourself. So just stay positive, and hopefully your business will take off.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's very good advice. Okay, hopefully you guys have taken something away from this moment. I'll take you for a little tour of the boat. I think we met up here about 10:20. I probably did a little, maybe 10 minutes of talking with the customer, kind of building that rapport to begin with. And I think it probably took us about, like if I was to minus out that initial talking and shooting this video, we're probably about 3 hours and 15 minutes to detail this boat. Excuse the wind. Do a shot on the inside. Now this customer is selling this boat, and so I had a talk with him about being realistic and appropriate. It's like, do we have to go level 10 on this boat, or do we have to go level 8 because you're just trying to sell it and put some curb appeal back into it? So we concluded that level 8 would be the more appropriate response, and so that's what we did on this particular boat.